In San Jose, California, this gigantic mansion looks pretty harmless and normal on the outside, but it is known to be one of the strangest architectural oddities in the world, the Winchester Mansion. Constructed in the 19th and 20th centuries by Sarah Winchester, the 160-room Winchester Mansion is famed for its extreme Gothic look, as well as elements of the Victorian era and Romanesque features. But it is the sad story of Sarah Winchester and her quest to overcome the paranormal that gives this building the renown it is known for. Join us as we explore the psyche of Sarah Winchester and the story of the Winchester Mansion, and watch till the end to discover the chilling conclusion of the woman who built this elaborate mansion. Sarah Winchester was born and later married her childhood friend and neighbor, William Wirt Winchester, in New Haven, Connecticut. After the death of her daughter in 1866, the next 14 years seemed fairly normal, until the fall of 1880. Then in 1880, the people around Sarah began to die. First her mother, then her father-in-law, and in 1881, Sarah's husband himself passed away. It was like something was killing them. After her elder sister Mary died, Sarah knew she had to do something. She decided to visit a medium in Boston named Adam Coons, who informed her that she and her family were haunted by the ghosts of people killed by Winchester rifles, the famous rifles through which the Winchester family had made their fortune, and that she must construct a house for these ghosts and never complete the project. Sarah had lost too many family members not to heed the message of the medium. Taking her 3 remaining sisters, Sarah moved to San Jose, California, and bought a small farmhouse along with the property. She immediately began to reconstruct the house into a Queen Anne Victorian mansion. In the realm of construction, Sarah was an unstoppable force, with a wallet to match her passion. Yet lurking beneath her determination was a chilling fear, an inexplicable compulsion, driving her to continue her project at all costs. Despite following her initial instructions, Sarah couldn't shake the haunting words of the medium who forewarned her about the malevolent spirits lingering in the shadows. With each nail hammered and each brick laid, Sarah's unease grew, setting the stage for a terrifying encounter with the paranormal forces she dared to defy. It was this fear that pushed Sarah Winchester in her construction of the Winchester Mansion. The work on the building went on for 24 hours every day. For decades, Sarah Winchester kept up the renovation of the Winchester Mansion. She hired construction workers on shocking deadlines, so that they also had no idea what the other crews were doing. For nearly 40 years, this behemoth of a house was under continuous construction. But the massive construction effort wasn't the only thing that sparked the rumors about the Winchester Mansion. Sarah believed that for her to stay ahead of the ghosts that had claimed the lives of almost everyone she loved, she not only had to build, but had to build an elaborate maze-like structure. The renovation, which had started on a small scale, began to extend into something much stranger. Sarah began to add more and more rooms that at one point, the house was 7 stories, with each story having numerous traps, hallways that led nowhere, and even a door that opened mid-air to a 2-story drop. Sarah initially hired 2 architects, but she dismissed them, choosing to design the building herself instead. She then drafted the rooms one by one, and her strange designs led many of the workers to think she was deranged. How else could they explain why she, for no apparent reason, tore down and rebuilt the building 16 times? She also added as many as 5 new levels to different parts of the home. At one time, the house had approximately 500 rooms. This strange reconstruction would continue until a disastrous event put a stop to it. By 1906, Sarah had spent millions of dollars and nearly 2 decades of her life working on the mansion. But her plans were about to take a major blow. In 1906, an earthquake struck San Francisco, and the masterpiece that Sarah spent years building was badly hit. For a while, this stopped all construction on the monstrosity of a mansion. But, convinced that there were otherworldly powers at play, Sarah took it upon herself to go back to the drawing board. She was sure that the earthquake and the ensuing damage to the mansion were a sign from God, so instead of abandoning the building, she contracted twice as many construction workers and began to disassemble the 7 vertical stories. Instead, she began to expand out, commencing construction of several new wings of the house. The mansion began to take the form of a sprawling catacomb of hallways, rooms, and doors. Sarah was determined to keep the ghosts out. The building plan for the Winchester Mansion includes doors that lead to nowhere and windows that open to the wall. Sarah herself was reclusive and antisocial. She had no close friends or relationships with any of the townspeople, choosing to become as much a mystery to them as the strange house she was invested in building. But the harder she worked to keep the ghosts out, the more paranormal activities at the Winchester Mansion increased. As Sarah hired more and more contractors, the reports of odd happenings, strange sounds, and cold spots all over the property continued to increase. A night crew working on the mansion reported seeing what appeared to be an old woman who was holding a candle out in the darkness, watching as the work went on into the wee hours of the morning. They asked Sarah about the old woman as they were leaving the next day, and she responded saying, "There's no old woman on this property." But the workers weren't the only ones who saw strange phenomena going on. Even Sarah herself had run-ins with the ghosts she was trying to escape. Local residents claimed to hear ghostly music coming from the house late at night, and visitors have reported seeing Native American warriors, a priest, multiple cowboys, and even an English gentleman while touring the grounds. Another ghost who has been sighted is a mustachioed specter with kind eyes who has been spotted wearing a cowboy hat and pushing a wheelbarrow. This specter has been called Clyde, and it is assumed that Clyde was a worker who died on the property in the 1800s. There are said to be many other ghosts lurking on the property, sad spirits trapped in limbo, or anguished souls crying out for help. Were these spirits truly the ghosts of the people who violently died after being shot with a Winchester rifle? If so, then it wouldn't explain what happened to Sarah Winchester after her death. The construction finally came to an end the same year Sarah Winchester passed away in 1922. 9 months after her death, the house became a tourist attraction. Only 160 of the 500 rooms remained. The house stayed in this state of disrepair until a group of investors purchased the property and then leased it to John and Mamie Brown, who turned it into a tourist attraction. Since then, it has become a favorite spot for seeing ghosts and reporting about them. If you enter the building alone, you will most likely get lost and spend hours trying to get out. There are rooms without an exit in sight, trapdoors and secret passageways with bizarrely faced skylights, and staircases that lead nowhere. Some large doors lead to small rooms, while some small doors lead to massive ballrooms. The number 13 is everywhere in the house. There are many 13 paneled windows, 13 paneled ceilings, and a bathroom that contains 13 windows. Tourists have reported smells of food cooking and cold spots, and most notably, they hear the mournful whispers of Sarah herself. In death, she too has become a specter, haunting the mansion she spent her life building. We may never truly know what drove Sarah to build the enigmatic Winchester Mansion, but with sightings of her spirit long after her death, we can only hope that someone would eventually hear the words she whispers. Ready for more hauntings? Then click here to discover the Curse of Myrtle's Plantation, or watch this other video instead.